Hello, welcome to Tip Off this morning. The world's worst year of computer health continues for me, and we do tip off again after a little while off. Hope you're well. Let's do it. Bop, 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 bop. Pow. How is everybody doing today? Welcome back. I do see that my picture is particularly blurry today. I'm off Mozilla instead of Google Chrome because my computer got infested with a virus on the first of the year. I did something wrong. Don't know what it is. Probably an ActiveBox plugin on my Gmail, I think, got me. But it's a fun one. I have every time I click on a tab, it closes it. I cannot use pop-ups. It's good. There's a lot of fun stuff going on right now. And it eliminates my ability to do, it also means that I've had to switch to a different browser, which then I don't have my passwords. And, oh, you know, you've been there before. So all sorts of little crazy stuff going on right now that's not nearly as much fun as I would like it to be. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Nonetheless, I certainly appreciate it. And we'll do a quick NBA 5. We'll talk about the month. We'll talk about a defensive switch. We'll give you where the Jazz are. And I don't know if anybody will watch this because it's January 2nd. And none of you are hopefully at work today. But I felt bad. Enough people had kind of asked where tip-off had gone. I kind of told you there was a chance, by the way. I looked at the calendar and realized when I got home, I was going to play with the kids. And then once the kids are getting up and I'm with them and it's not the early mornings. And so anyway, I apologize if I let you down. We will get to your questions as well. Appreciate you people flying back. Hope you have a good 2015 to start it off. So let's see if we can start this thing off with the NBA 5.
This is Rudy Gobert, and you are Locked on Jazz.
Thank you very much, Rudy. Quick thoughts on the NBA 5, recapping December and who the best teams in the NBA were in December. Some pretty interesting things. The number one team in the NBA in December was the Warriors. Not a huge surprise. They were the fifth best offensive team, third best defensive team. The Atlanta Hawks, who are in town tonight, were the second best efficiency differential in December. And they did it with Al Horford in the middle and Paul Millsap as a wing as the number one defensive team in the entire NBA. I don't have any idea how you do that. Without a rim protector, without a backup rim protector, with Paul Millsap as undersized at power forward, they became the number one defensive team in the NBA. And more than that, they didn't do it. It's not like they were first in the league in turnovers or second in the league. And so they were just well above board and everything. Oklahoma City has clicked back in. They are the third rated, net rated team in the NBA in the month of December. So they are coming. Portland is having an incredible year. They were the fourth best team in December. They have switched from last year where they were about 21st in league defensively. December, they were the 22nd best defensive team in the NBA. So to go from 22nd to second is a pretty big deal for Portland. Toronto is the fifth best team in the NBA. Our offensive rating was number one. Defense was only 20th. Clippers were second. Defensive rating was only 14th. Wizards were seventh. Chicago, that's been the best team for the last 2 weeks, was eighth. Dallas ninth. And interestingly, Boston, probably nicely playing Eastern Conference schedule, but Boston was the second best team in the NBA, or 10th best team, in the NBA in December, doing something interesting. They're the fourth best defensive team while having the second best pace. So they got rid of Rajon Rondo and got better. Worth noting. We were the 21st ranked team in the month of December. Probably about as high as you could probably expect us to be. Denver has slid badly. They were 27th. Miami 26th. Tyrone Corbin, Sacramento Heat 25th. Have all slid badly. And New Orleans Pelicans have slid very, very badly. They were 26th defensively, 10th offensively for 20th in the league. We were 14th offensively, 25th defensively. So interesting to me, just kind of look at months. I like to do that. I like to look their 15, 16 game samples. Nobody's schedule is the exact same. Some people's schedule gets pretty soft in that period of time. I mean, you start to delve into Atlanta and You look at their schedule and you probably want to say to yourself, well, I'm not sure I'm buying it considering the fact that their schedule was Boston, Miami, Brooklyn, Denver, Indiana. Haven't played an above 500 team yet. Philadelphia, Orlando. But then they go beat Chicago, blow out Cleveland, win in Houston, win in Dallas, win against the Clippers, lose to Milwaukee, beat Milwaukee, and beat Cleveland. So probably pretty legit by the end of that. And, I've always believed this. If you can start linking, as Atlanta did here, Atlanta played New Orleans they played Detroit and Washington. They got a nice win against Washington. They lost to Toronto. They were 7-6. And then they beat a Pelicans team that's not that good, a Hornets team that was in disarray, a Boston team that's not that good, a Miami team at Miami that I don't know who was healthy that day. At Brooklyn, blew them out, which is still a decent win. Denver at home was not very good. At Indiana, their road wins. Philly and Orlando, the schedule gave you to. You just start to believe in yourself. And as much as anything, I think that's what's happened with Atlanta is they've just suddenly believed in themselves. Obviously, huge news with LeBron out for 2 weeks. He hasn't looked right all year, or at least for any longer than a day or two. Just hasn't looked right. Cleveland is to some extent just conceding home field advantage in the playoffs. And I think somewhat Cleveland probably can get taken off the list. Toronto, Atlanta, Washington, and Chicago are all within a game and a half of each other and 5 games up on Cleveland. Boston's making a furious playoff run with Miami at 11-18. Gotta love the Eastern Conference. And don't forget my Orlando Magic. They're 12-22, 13-22 and 2 games out. Over on the West, still almost no separation in the top 6. The Warriors are in first. Portland, incredibly, is a half game out of first. Memphis is 2.5 games out. Houston, 3.5 games out. Dallas tied with them at 3.5 games out. Clippers at 4.5. And San Antonio's at 7. Phoenix is at 9. I would watch that. Just San Antonio's lost 7 of 10. San Antonio's playing a little more fire and danger than people are realizing. Because here comes Oklahoma City, who's clicked in and going to click in even more. They're going to catch Phoenix. Phoenix is 2 back on San Antonio for the 8th spot, in my opinion. I'm not, can Oklahoma City make up 6 games to catch the Clippers for 6? Probably not. 6, 7, and 8 are going to be Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the playoffs. Incredible. Insane and incredible. All right, that is your NBA 5.
Hi, this is Derek Favors. I want to hear from you. Call 801-200-3738 and ask me a question. That's 801-200-3738 to ask me a question.
Remember, 801-200-3738. If you ask a question on the broadcast, we will try to get your stuff on the air. Ask a question to Ron Boone. We'll use that in I think it's first time out of the first quarter. So if you get a chance to do that, fire it up. I'm going to do something a little differently today because I got to get the kids here in a second. I'm just going to take your questions and see what people's thoughts are, and then maybe that'll lead me into everything that needs to be done. Do you think we're sometimes too hard on Trey? I often catch myself forgetting he's only 32 games into his second season. Occasionally I get the feeling we are writing him off already. I think there's a fairness on both sides, actually, Blake, with Trey. He's got to play better defense if he's going to be an NBA point guard, if we're going to succeed with him as a point guard. He's undersized. He may not be able to. He better show every indication that he wants to before you decide that he's physically not able to. But on the other end, look at a player like Jeff Teague, who's coming in to tonight, who's become really quite a nice player for Atlanta, and you could have written him off after his first 2 years. And I hope we don't get lost in draft position, because that was a terrible draft. And so, to some extent, I think we're excited about a little bit because he was drafted 9th. I'm not sure I really think of him as a 9th pick. Teague was 19th in the 2009 draft. His first year, he shot 39%, 22% from 3. He played 719 minutes. His second year, he played 963 minutes, 44%, 38% from 3. Frankly, had he been thrown to the Wolves the way we've thrown Trey, I think Trey's a little bit of an over-dipped Oreo cookie. then I think his numbers would probably be pretty similar to Trey. And by his third year, at 23 years old, he moved in the starting lineup and he really started to click in and suddenly became a 12-point a game, then a 15 a game, 16. Now he's 17-point a game scorer, shooting 48 and 34. So they're very different. Teague's much faster. There is a concern on just whether Trey has the athleticism that's necessary. But I do think it's still very early in his career. I've seen Trey in the last 10 games, maybe 5, try to change how he's playing, penetrate more, go to the basket more, do something. Can he continue to do that? Does he continue to do that? Very vital and important to what he's doing. I think our plus minus with Trey the last 5 or 6 games much better. So, yeah, we still have a long way to go with Trey before we write him off. But you also have to shoot better than 37%, 32% overall. Will the biggest issue of not signing Gordon to the max ourselves be that he has a player option after 3 years? Yep. Absolutely. That's what Gordon earned. Yeah. New TV contract will kick in. Gordon will opt out, and we'll have to pay him a buttload. Absolutely. And he's earning it. Boy, is he playing well. Woo! Talking about a guy who believed in himself. But, I mean, he is a 19-5-4 guy right now. And pretty consistent 19-5-4. Maybe more than anything else, what impresses me is the level of consistency by which he's kind of doing this 19-5-4. And now shooting 39% from 3. He's our best 3-point shooter again. It's interesting. The last 5 games or so, he's getting more from his teammates. You almost feel like the offense is finally working. That gets him going. Let's go to Michael Ware. Do you think the Jazz will be able to sign both Canner and Gobert when they become free agents? You can pay 3 bigs. With the new TV deal, I think you'll be able to pay 3 bigs. Are those the right 3 bigs in the right mix will be the question. But I think that's a good question. One of the things I was going to bring up on tip-off is, and this happens, I think, a lot of times, the storyline we get caught up into, I'm into it too, becomes inconsistent with the truth. So right now, we are all in love with, including myself, Rudy Gobert's impact on the team and what he's doing. And he's been really terrific. That East Coast road trip was kind of his coming out party, and he has been fabulous. And he is, top 4 guy. I haven't looked at it recently, but top 3 or 4 guy affecting the ball at the rim. However, I believe, and I'm going to look this up to confirm it. I don't have it in my notes because I generally don't keep notes like this in my play-by-play notes. Over the last 10 games, we're better with him off the floor than we are with him on the floor. Okay? So all of a sudden, we have increased Rudy's time, right? He's gone from playing just a little to playing a whole heck of a lot. And while he still is impacting things really well for the Jazz this year, overall in the season, when he's on the floor, our defensive rating is 101.8. Our defensive rating when he's off the floor is 111.9, right? So an incredible 10-point differential. The same 10-point differential exists on offense, though. When Rudy's on the floor offensively, we're at 97.8. And when he's off the floor, we're at 107.6. Our differential when Rudy's on the bench this year is a -4 when he's on the floor, 4.3 when he's on the floor, it's -3.9. Okay. Well, now all of a sudden, in the last 10 games or so, I'll use 10 as just a kind of round number. In the last 10 games, we've really stretched out Rudy. Right now, he's playing as many as 30 minutes a night. I think our minutes of Rudy on the floor and off the floor are the exact same in the last 10 games. So he's played 239 minutes with him on the bench and 241 with him on the floor. And guess what? We're way better when he's on the bench now. Way better. When Rudy's on the bench, we're +6 over the last 10 games. When Rudy's on the floor, we're -6. It's actually +7, -7. 6.6 and 6.7. Okay, that's huge. Offensive rating when he's off the floor is 113.1. When he's on the floor is 95.6. Defensive rating is only 4 points better, not 10 points better. Now he's getting extended minutes. Okay. So is that who he's playing with, who he's on the floor with? Is that who he's playing against? Is that people figuring him out? Is that him going into scouting reports? Is that other guys on the floor aren't as good defensively? I don't know. But it's worth noting that all of a sudden, as the role has changed and it's been increased, and he's already played, I think, 500 more minutes this year than he did all of last year. Hey, he's still impacting things, okay? When he's on the floor, teams only shoot 54% in the restricted area. When he's off the floor in the last 10 games, they shoot 60. Well, they only shoot 27% of their shots in the restricted area. They shoot 33% when he's off the floor. Okay, so he's still greatly impacting things, but the impact is far less, and offensively, it's a problem. What is the mood of Alec right now? Is he optimistic for a bright future? The shoulder won't bother him as he focus more on what he's missing. I have not talked to him because he had surgery on the 31st, and he's been at home as a patient. So I can't really honestly answer that question. Shoulder was bothering him. He wants to play badly. The hope was to try to get him through. No one ever said this officially to me, but I kind of had a feeling the hope was to try to get him through January and February and let him have some more run with the team and get to know the system better and feel more comfortable, and then have the surgery. It was clear he was going to have the surgery, but it was at a point where it wasn't going to get going. Here from Cody, how big a deal is Alec Burks' surgery going forward? How will it affect Alec and going forward? Jazz. For Alec, I think it's just going to be rehab and getting used to it. And the shoulders are weird because you go for rebounds and wonder if it's going to hold in. It's going to take a little while. For the Jazz, it's enormous. Okay, Rodney Hood is not ready to start, and he's going to have to start for us. And it's unheard of for a player picked 20 through 30 to start in this league in a rookie year. Last year, Mason Plumlee had 22 starts. That was the most of anyone drafted 20 through 30. In 2012, nobody did. In 2011, Marshawn Brooks had 47 starts. Kenneth Faried had 39. Marshawn Brooks is out of the league. In 2010, Jordan Crawford had 17 starts. In 2009, Darren Collison had 39 starts in place of an injured Chris Paul. In 2008, Courtney Lee had 42 starts. Nicholas Batum had 76. So Nicholas Batum handled it. Wilson Chandler in 2007 had 17. Rajon Rondo in 2006 had 20. David Lee had 14 in 2005. Tony Allen had 34 in 2004. 2004. Rodney Hood is going to have like 60 starts. It's going to have the second most amount of starts in 10 years of any player drafted 21 through 30. It's not a good equation. And he's not ready for it. I like Rodney an awful lot, but you're asking a huge amount out of Rodney. You could overdip that Oreo cookie in the span. Got to be careful. So there. It's huge, and then our backup shooting guard right now hasn't proven to be an NBA player yet. Patrick Christopher is a wonderful story, great guy. He hasn't proven he's an NBA player yet. So we're playing with probably however you rate Trey and starting point guards in the NBA, and we're playing with a 30th ranked shooting guard in the NBA right now. So it's gonna be really hard to get wins. The loss of Alec. It's gonna be there are not a lot of wins left this year with that. It's going to be very difficult. Michael Moore, and then I got to go get the kids. Do you think it's worth bringing in a vet like Dante Jones comes to mind, or Rodney Hood's opportunity with a couple losses? I think it's worth letting Rodney run this out for a little while, and then if it becomes clearly detrimental to Rodney, which there's a possibility it will be, that then you do something of that sort. That's my thought. You keep an eye on it because you're asking an awful lot out of Rodney. He's gonna be a nice NBA player, hopefully, and probably a nice rotation piece. But starting in your first year at the wing position, it's hard work. So we'll see. Nicholas Batum's interesting, right? Everyone's always wanted more out of Batum. Did he get too much too early? Is that why he's never fully developed? I don't know. Never know the answer to that question, but it's a thought. All right. That is tip off today. Glad to be back. Talk to you soon.